Hey everybody, it's Matt Shu from Upright Health, and today I'm answering a question from Darren Yee, who left a comment on a video that I did a little while back talking about orthotics, foot pain, and shoe choices. And if you haven't watched that video, you can check it out right here. We'll link it right here. And in that video, I basically talked about my own journey with foot pain, calf pain, burning, tingling, sharp pains in the bottom of my foot, actually on both feet. I mentioned that I no longer have those issues. I now wear pretty minimalist shoes. Some of my shoes are super thin. And there is basically no arch support in my shoes anymore. Whereas I used to have really thick support to try to, basically dull the amount of pain that I would feel on a daily basis. So Darren asked a really good question. He said, since you're now wearing minimalist shoes, was it the change to minimalist shoes that basically made all the pains go away? Was it taking out the orthotics that made your pains go away? Was it transitioning to really minimalist shoes that made all your aches and pains go away? That's a really good question because that's what a lot of people think will happen, and I think for some people it does happen. But for me personally, that is absolutely not what happened. I could not make the change to minimalist shoes comfortably without having done all kinds of other things. So for me personally, what made it even possible to make that change towards more minimalist shoes was actually doing things to get my hips to work better. So I had a lot of crunching, grinding, popping, snapping going on in my hips. My hips were really weak, so all these deep hip muscles, they just did not function particularly well. And that, from my experience, was what was really at the root of all my issues going down into my feet and my ankles and my calves. Once I was able to restore better mobility in my hips, once I was able to get the muscles around my hip joints to work better, I started to feel like my calves and my feet weren't so bad. And then as that got better and better, as I felt like I wasn't so stiff, my feet also really loosened up and stopped bothering me so much. Interesting little detail during all this, one of the things I noticed with my very sharp burning sensations in the morning, the stabbing sensations in the bottom of my foot in the morning, I found, you might call this plantar fasciitis, call it whatever you want. What I found was, doing calf stretches, doing like massage on the bottom of my foot never really seemed to address the problem. And, this was one of those situations where I just got really frustrated and I just started trying a bunch of different things. And I found actually that doing things like hip stretches, in particular, early on, doing hip flexor stretches and top of the quad stretches actually really helped relieve the discomfort that I had in the bottom of my feet. Which, if you look at any textbook or WebMD or any other website that talks about foot pain, you basically will never find. It was really just by randomly experimenting that I started to notice there was this pretty strong correlation between what was going on with my hips and what was going on with my feet. And over the years working with different people, I've definitely seen that same correlation. If your hips are not healthy, a lot of things go wrong everywhere else. So it's important to recognize that there are things that are not related to the site of pain that can definitely result in pain elsewhere, and that's one of the big things that I try to get across. So, Darren, and anybody else who's wondering about this, I don't personally believe that just going full throttle and just transitioning into minimalist shoes is the best idea. For most people, you probably want to make a smooth, gradual transition and also really think about what's going on with your hips to help you make sure you're able to make a transition into more minimalist shoes. Making sure your hips are healthy really makes a huge difference for not just your lower body, but also for your spine, for your shoulders, and all that stuff. So hopefully that answers your question, Darren, gives you a little perspective. And if you guys out there have more questions, you're welcome to leave them in the comments section. We try to catch up with all of those if we think they're going to be useful questions for other people to hear. If you want your questions to get answered, kind of thrown into priority queue, if you want to be first in line to get your questions answered, check out the Upright Insider program. You can see that at insider.uprighthealth.com. It's a cool little membership program that we have. So for our subscribers, our supporters, we do have a members only Q&A section with exclusive videos on the back end there, only for the members. So if you submit questions through that site, we get those right in front of our faces much more quickly than we get to all the YouTube questions. So check that out. And please remember that pain sucks, life shouldn't. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, share, and comment. And don't forget to subscribe.